great having Gerald Meerschaert back here on the program. He's going to be back in action August 28th, UFC Fight Night. Gerald, how's it going, man?
I'm doing great, James. How are you?
Doing very well. First, right off the bat, first thing I notice here, no beard. Is this something new, or what's the deal with that?
Well, my son is starting to recognize faces, so I figure it'd be less of a shock. If he gets used to my ugly mug now, and then when I slowly grow the beard back, it won't be so weird if I ever decide to shave it off again.
Gotcha. And let's start there, man. Congrats. I know fatherhood's awesome. I can attest. I've got a 3-year-old. How's everything been, being a dad?
It's been great, and we've been very, very lucky because our kid's, like, he's already sleeping through the night 8 to 9 hours at a crack. Like, it's rare that he wakes up, and if he does, he's just hungry. And it's been like that for probably since he's been 8-9 weeks. So we really lucked out, knock on wood, on all that stuff.
What's the schedule like? For me and my wife, she got the night shift. I got the early mornings and kind of into the evening and stuff. I know you're, like you said, your son isn't up, but is that kind of how you have it? Or do you like, are you on standby basically if something happens in the middle of the night?
So before, when we did have to switch off a little bit, generally my wife would stay up with him a little bit later anyway. That was just her schedule she was keeping. And then I would wake up kind of for the quote unquote first one, like around, 3-4 o'clock. And then I'd go back to sleep. But like I said, now he doesn't really wake up, which is awesome because I got my fight coming up, so I don't have to worry about that.
You need to sleep. Yeah. No, I hear you on that, except for the fighting part, but totally get what you're saying there. That makes sense. Was this the right amount of time off in between fights with, like I said, being a dad and now getting back into the cage?
Yeah, I feel like it was enough time. At first, like when they called me, it was like literally the day he had been born. So I was like, I'm thinking about everything other than fighting now. So I was a little kind of like, this is, kind of quick, but it's been more than enough time. It was more than 12 weeks or like right around there. So I've had plenty of time to prepare, help me get back into the gym right away and not get too comfortable sitting on the couch. So I think that was a good thing.
Take me back to your last fight. You get that first round finish, and then you're going to be a dad soon. Like, that must have been awesome, like going into fatherhood off a big win like that.
Yeah, it was really good. And, I had to not think about that too much. Like, it was a positive thing that was happening, but I was in a very good place mentally. I feel like I still am. Everything's improving, and that was, always the piece that was missing the most for me. And, that I used what resources I had, but it's just one of those things, like at a certain point you got to figure it out for yourself, and like how to be comfortable enough, I guess, to let your skills speak for themselves and like fight to your full potential. Because you can know how to do everything in the world, but if you can't do it under the lights, it doesn't really matter. And I feel like I'm getting a step closer to that every single day.
Let's talk about your opponent here. 25-6 record. Muradov, I believe is how you say it. I know he was part of Floyd Mayweather's team. I believe he's training overseas right now. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
Looks like he, from all his UFC fights, looks like he's more of a striker. Definitely favors the hands. Really good movement. Stays on the outside. Uses his length really well. He'll come in with a really fast 1-2. Uses his jab well, and one thing I think he does that a lot of guys that fought him underestimated, he goes to the body really well with that straight right. And he throws it kind of correctly. Like a lot of MMA guys think, you got to hunker down. A lot of people in general, you got to hunker down to throw the body. He does a good job of, he might bend his knees a little bit more, but the straight right up top and the straight right to the body and solar plexus looks the same. So he does that very, very well. It looks, at least from the outside looking in, like he kind of gets tired as the fight goes on. Like, even when he's winning, it's just so much movement that he starts to, his productivity starts to drop a little bit, and, he starts to get a little sloppy, which, you can do that when you've been piecing somebody up for the first 10 minutes, so it hasn't really affected him yet, but I see that that's one thing I can definitely capitalize on.
You're telling me off air, I was kind of mentioning, I know you were down in Florida, I believe you trained there for a week. I believe it's your buddy JP St. Louis who's down there, right? He's training down there now?
Yep, JP was there. I got to go with Phil Rowe, who's like a very similar style to my guy. They got a bunch of really tough guys down there. Mike Perry was down there as well. Rodolfo was fighting that week, so he wasn't happening to be there. Hannah Goldie was there getting ready. She was near the end of her camp, but I got a lot of lanky guys that like to strike and really move and, kind of have that tag boxing style. So that was a really good thing for me.
That was Fusion Excel, right? Is that Jim? I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yeah. How was it getting to train with Mike Perry? I got to know. What was it like getting to meet him?
It was really good. You know what I mean? Like everyone wanted to know, and honestly, he was really nice. He was very, very cordial towards me. He didn't like, what I would think is why people would ask that is they assumed that he was gonna like try to punk me or something or act tough. But he was just a regular nice guy, and I didn't expect anything. I didn't know he was gonna be there or whatever. But he was really cool about everything. I got to train with him a little bit. Very good training room etiquette as well. Like he didn't just try to, take my head off. Like you could tell it was a good scrappy go, but he was there to learn. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to fight you. Like it was really good. It was a pleasure to train with him.
And I guess you didn't make the trip. I don't know where they are geographically, but your buddy Brendan Allen's now in Florida at Sanford. I guess you didn't go down there at all?
No, yeah, he's like 3.5 or 4 hours south.
Is it that far apart, man? Just shows you a Canadian guy who doesn't know U.S. geography. There you go. So.
Yeah, Florida's really, really big, and I definitely plan on going down there in the future. Honestly, all it came down to is they had a lot of guys that just had, they had Phil Rowe, who definitely has a similar style, and they had a lot of those tall, lanky guys that can give a very similar look.
One thing that comes with fatherhood is the dad bod. I don't think you've subscribed to that. How's the weight cut going?
It's going good. It's been a nice transition into the next camp. Kept up with my strength conditioning, kept up with my training. So yeah, it shouldn't be a problem for me.
Your corner, Scott Cushman will be in there. Or who's going to be in there with you?
I'll have Cush with me, Biggie, and Duke Rufus.
Oh, nice. Rufus Sport Crew. And how's the fight playing out? Are we going to see another submission on August 28th? Well, what's the prediction?
Yeah, if I get a submission, I'll have to beat him into a submission probably first. But the guy's really scrambly. I don't want it to go to decision. It seems to me that judges don't really like me when it comes to decisions in the UFC. So I'm going to try to keep that from happening. But that being said, I expect a tough, grueling fight. I know he's going to try to punch me in the face as hard as he can, and I know he's pretty good at doing it. And I know I have to go forward and engage, in a fist fight to get this fight to where I want it. It's no secret. He wants to stay on the feet, and play on the outside. I want to get up in his face and make it a dirty fight, clinch him up, box him up, take him down if I can. So I don't think it's any mystery to either of us what the other is going to try to do, right? If he does try to wrestle me or shoot, I'll be like, oh, fantastic. Now we just get to do what I want to do. But I don't see that happening outside of him maybe being like, oh, I'm going to score some points real quick and take him down and cut him. So, yeah, I don't really see that happening, but it's going to be a fight for sure. And luckily for me, we're in a small cage, so he's not going to be able to bounce around as much. He's going to have to really make some hard dynamic movements to be able to keep me away from him for that long of a time. And I think that's going to make him really, really tired if I can do a good job of staying in his face.
Do you want to get one more in this year? Or you kind of, see how this goes and reassess for next year?
I mean, if I'm physically able to, maybe November, mid-late November, but I wouldn't be opposed to waiting after the holidays. You know what I mean? Like I said, see how this one goes, see the state of the world, because so much is back and forth with all the COVID stuff going on and restrictions, and I'm not going to comment on how I feel about it, but just,
it's probably smart in this day and age, man. You say something, everyone's all over you, regardless of what side you're on, right? So,
right. But I just mean in the sense that I don't know if I'll be physically able to travel and compete, or what the rules are going to be. So
I feel your drift on this one. Trust me. I know what you're saying there. That makes sense.
Yeah. See if I can still train, see what the rules are, and we'll go from there.
Have you spoken to Ben Askren recently? I know his brother, you do some stuff with him as well, but what's the latest on him? Because we haven't heard much from Ben since the Paul fight.
Nothing major. He's just teaching wrestling, having fun, living life. Never got anything negative to say about Ben, and Ben never really has anything negative to say in general. So he's just, he's out there living his best life, playing disc golf and all that good stuff.
Are you any good at disc golf?
No, I'm not. I think I've played twice, and I was terrible both times. So yeah, right. Not so much for me.
What about golf? I've talked to so many fighters lately, and I've realized that there's so many golfers in the MMA community. Are you one of them?
No, but it's interesting. When I was younger, I actually took golf lessons, and I was okay. And then I don't know what happened, but all those skills completely left.
It's tough. Yeah.
I go to the driving range and I'm hitting, the head of the driver on the ground before I hit the ball. Like, it's bad. So I gotta brush up on my skills for sure.
That exact same thing happened to me, and then I just got back into golf this year, and I'm getting a little bit better, but it's still huge work in progress. Like, same thing. I played when I was younger, took like a 20-year break, and then came back into it this year. So it's something you got to do as a dad. You need other things on the side, other hobbies, and COVID-friendly hobbies as well too, because you're 6 feet. So it's all good. Gerald, thanks so much for doing this, man. Appreciate it. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Look me up. I'm on most social media. Shout out to Combat Corner, all my friends, all my teammates. Appreciate you guys. Couldn't do it without you.
No TikTok though, right?
No. Too old for TikTok.
There you go. Perfect.